The Australian Navy's delivering supplies and operations teams to fire-ravaged Mallacoota in Victoria's East Gippsland region. Patrick Murrell joins us live now from the Victorian State Control Centre. Patrick, supplies and resources have started to arrive in just the last few hours.
That's right, Annalise. The ADF presence is now on the ground in the town of Mallacoota, where you'll remember 4,000 people were sheltering on the beach from encroaching flames and embers, some of the worst areas in the ongoing bushfires in Gippsland. The HMAS Chulz is a humanitarian vessel. It's just docked about 1.5 kilometres from the town of Mallacoota, and small boats with Navy personnel are now ferrying bottles of water, food and other supplies to the town. This includes generators, of course. Power would have been cut to some homes, so this will be used, be much appreciated by the residents there, who have been running low on supplies for days now. While the naval help is welcome, some have taken matters into their own hands. They said that help was taking too long to arrive, and so a small group of residents in Mallacoota did charter a private vessel and will use that to evacuate. The HMAS Chulz, though, will evacuate about 500 people today and will continue to do that over the next few days, with the aim of getting most, if not all, people out of Mallacoota before conditions worsen again on Saturday. Crews on the ground have been speaking to residents affected in Mallacoota who have been been completely cut off for the past few days. They say it's been a terrifying ordeal.
You can only describe it as we've just survived like the worst car crash, and we're being asked to recover next to the vehicle.
Pretty tough, but it's been a roller coaster of emotions, and it goes up and down, and sometimes I just drop. But there's all these people picking you up in town. That's what Mallacoota does, and like a lot of country towns, what they do. And generally speaking, people are caring people, and they want the best for their friends.
The supermarket shelves, they are still quite full, but they're full of a lot of snacks and things like that. It's not sort of proper food that you can cook for your kids. I understand that they've got more supplies coming on the way, and they're going to send perishables to the supermarkets, but it still makes it hard between now and then. Even bottled water has run out.
Now, in addition to the evacuation via ship, there was some plan to evacuate some people via helicopter. Indeed, a few of the most at-risk residents, including the elderly and the frail, were flown out yesterday. Plans to do that today, though, have been postponed because the smoke in the area is simply too thick. Now, while we have seen some horrifying pictures come out of this emergency, there is some good news today. Conditions are cooler and generally more mild across the state. Indeed, there are no emergency warnings present overnight. They were all downgraded to watch and act messages. Still, about 50 fires burning across the state, most in East Gippsland, where we know at least 50 structures have been destroyed, 50 in Buchan. The number actually more likely to be far higher than that. Damage assessment teams, though, haven't been able to move in to some of those areas yet and come out with a concrete number. In the northeast, Corryong as well, we know just north of there, about 10 properties, 10 structures have been destroyed by flames. There's also some ongoing fires in the alpine regions around Mount Buffalo and Bright, where people may be camping. The advice to them is to leave while conditions are favourable, while firefighters are doing their best to stop that spread. There is the possibility that that could flare up on Saturday, one of the next worst day we're expecting. So the advice there is to have a plan and evacuate from those at-risk areas.
Listen to what other people are saying that have been affected in these communities. Hey, it came so quick. We didn't think it would come so quick. It was so ferocious. It was so scary. Some members of our family stayed and thought they could fight it, and then realised it was too bad. There was too many spot fires. For goodness sake, moving forward, we're not over this. Have a plan. I just can't reinforce that enough. We cannot afford, and we do not want to lose any more life, any more Australians lost in this tragic bushfire event.
Now today across Victoria we're seeing temperatures around the mid-20s. That'll increase to the 30s tomorrow. More mild, so firefighters will be using this to get on top of the fires and more importantly get into some of those towns that have now been cut off from major roads for days now. Indeed, those major roads could be cut off for weeks. Some of these affected areas include Can River, where about 100 people, including some children, were taking shelter in a primary school for 2 nights. Strike teams have made their way into that town. Genoa as well in far east Gippsland. No firefighters have made their way into that town yet. It's simply too surrounded by flames and too dangerous to enter. That will be one of the towns that teams will be hoping to get into to bring supplies to and to evacuate from today. Now there's nearly about 1,000 firefighters in this East Gippsland region. They have been working on these ongoing fires for over a month now. Fatigue is starting to set in and there's some concerns about mental health of not just residents but those on the front lines.
The other issue, of course, is stress is mental health and well-being. These communities and indeed are working collaboratively or collectively with all the agencies. So it is about not just physical safety, but mental health and safety as well. So a collaborative effort. If you like, the real Australian spirit coming out here. If there's to be any silver lining on these events, it's the fact that, hey, it is bringing everybody together and we all are working one in quite the literal sense.
On Saturday, temperatures will soar once again to 40. That will be a high danger day, so firefighters doing everything they can to lessen the risk before then. Premier Daniel Andrews is currently in Bairnsdale. He is expected to give an updated brief to the media with some more information on the ongoing fires within the next hour, and of course we'll bring you all the details on this ongoing fires live on Sky News.